Hi, my name is Lael Deal, and I just recently watched the documentary Alive Inside. So it was really, really interesting. I loved it. It was really cool to see. Like, I never thought about that type of thing before, like nursing homes and how people are treated. And I don't know, it just hasn't really been like a big thing on my mind recently, but this really kind of brought awareness to what was going on and the reality of it for people who are in nursing homes and the struggle that they face being in those kinds of homes. The people they showed it was very impactful to me, just to see real life stories and to see how much they were truly affected by it. So one of my favorite characters was the first one I don't know if it was the first one they introduced, but the one, I think his name was Henry. It like warmed my heart when I saw that. Like, it was very sweet. I loved how it showed him like transform from being so like secluded and like not very like talkative or like putting a lot of energy into things. And then once he got the music, like it was like his whole like personality changed. Like, he was like up and alert and like awake, and it seemed like he was himself again, and he could like remember things from his childhood, which was super cool. And then also just the fact that he was like then like singing, and like it just brought so much joy out of him, which I thought was so cool and something I hadn't realized music had the power to do. I hadn't realized that was a thing, but it was so cool to see it like in real time, the effect that it had on someone, and someone with Alzheimer's and who was really struggling. It brought them out of that for like just a few minutes, and it was really, really cool to see. Another person they talked about was Denise. Denise, I really liked. She was a really fun character. She was very like out there, and like she did not care like what she said, and just kind of like did what she wanted. And she had bipolar and schizophrenia, so there was some like emotional regulation. And I know they said that she was more of a like harder patient to deal with, but I loved how when she got the music, like she just got immediately like happy and was like smiling and dancing and like doing all this stuff with the main guy who brought all the music and the headphones and everything. Like, that was so cool to see how it like changed her. And like, she wasn't immediately like a sweet person, like, no, like I loved how she like he was gonna trying to talk to her, and she was like, shh, like, no, like, let me listen. And that was just it was just like really cute and like sweet to see like the side that it brought out of her, and how it brought out like it felt like a whole different person. When she listened to the music, it was just like so different and so much like better than what she had been acting like before. Yeah, it was super cool to see that. And then the next character that or person that they had in the documentary was Tom, and he had only like a short little part in it. But it was kind of sad to see, just because he really wanted, like, he kept on trying to escape. Like, he kept on being like going to the exits, and like he couldn't leave, or he'd go to like his room and try to escape, but he couldn't. Like, he wasn't able to leave, but he like wanted to, because a big issue that they have in nursing homes is a lot of the residents feel as though it's not like their home. They're like, this isn't my home. So like, even if they've been there for a few years, they don't feel as though it's their home, which is kind of sad to me, like that they still feel so connected to their actual home that they just don't find a place in the nursing homes. And I think it also brought up a really good point that nursing homes are made right now to kind of like a hospital, so it's not like this nice place that feels like a home. It kind of feels like you're in a hospital, and you're in hospital beds and hospital rooms, and it's not really homey. And so then I could understand why patients are thinking, or patients, or like people who live there are feeling as though they want to leave and go to their real home, because it doesn't feel like a home where they are, which is really sad. And I can't imagine being in that position, and I feel like it definitely doesn't help with their dementia or whatever issues they're facing to feel like they're not home and feel like they're not comfortable in the space, which I think is necessary for you to be like happy and enjoy your time. So it was sad to see that. That was a sad aspect of it. But then I feel like it had a good balance of like shifting from like, oh my God, that's so sweet, to like, oh wow, like we really need to figure out ways to fix the system because it's not working. But one of the really sweet moments that I saw, and it's sad they have to do this, but the one couple who they were able to like not send the wife to a nursing home because of music. So they were able to like control her and make her all right being at home, and so they didn't have to send her to a home because her husband like took care of her, and like she would listen to music and she would be all better, and it would like basically heal her for those minutes that she's listening to music. And it was really cool to see that that it kind of just proved that like the power of music is crazy, and like it can really affect the way that someone is doing and the way that someone is behaving just by putting headphones on and listening to music. It's wild the power that it has. But it was kind of like hopeful a little bit, I think, kind of showing that people who may feel hopeless or who may feel like their mom is going to have to go to a nursing home, like, no, like there are other options. And of course you have to have family to be able to support you in that time. Like you can't just be living alone and be like listening to music, because you might forget to listen to music or stuff like that. Like you definitely need family around you to support you. But if you have that family, I think it was really cool to see that it shows that like you can do it. Like you don't have to go to a nursing home where it feels like they're not actually in a real home and they're in a hospital. Like you could stay at home and not go to a nursing home, which is really cool. And I think it really gave kind of a sign of hope and kind of just proved the point that the fact that music does work and it really does help people, and it can save them from having to go somewhere new, and instead they can just stay in their home, which is ideally what they would like. Overall, I think it really brought up some good points about nursing homes and the way that they treat the people that are living there. A lot of the points they brought up was about how some of even though like the people who work there and who are nurses there and help out are like the most lovely people ever, they do treat the people there not as human first, and they treat them as a patient first, even though in reality they're just like, they're a person. Like they aren't getting treated as though they are a real person. And so I feel like because of that, they lose a lot of their freedom and a lot of their control over what they can and can't do, and they can't really like go out and do things. They can't really be in society a lot like a lot of other people. Like I think nursing homes are just very secluded, and they can make people feel as though they're in prisons, which isn't how you want to live, and can be very harming for that person. So I think that is definitely something that needs to be looked into, and I love that this guy is doing all this research with the music and stuff. But again, it showed how difficult it was for him to get those resources and the funding to be able to provide those nursing homes with the music, even though it was proven that that really helped them and really brought out life in people. But they couldn't get the funding for that. And at the end, I know it showed like he was making progress, but like it's not, we got to be making like bigger steps, I think, and we really need to be focusing on the issue that this is and make sure that we're trying to solve it and find a solution to it, instead of just, because they give so much money to funding for like medications and thousands of dollars to medications and all that kind of stuff, when they have this other option which would be so much cheaper that is proven to help and shown to really, really bring people out of whatever is going on in their mind and kind of like bring them back to who they were, which is really cool. And I think the funding for that needs to be increased. And I know at the end, like it showed like he was making some progress, so I'm really hoping that that continued. And I don't know where he's at now, but I'm really hoping that he's made more progress and has been able to get more funding to provide more music to nursing homes so that more people can feel as free and as themselves as those in the video. But then so overall, I think this really showed, the power of music. So I think in relation to OT, music is definitely a resource that can be utilized. I think for kids, sometimes it's like you can use it as a way to have them move. Like if you play music, you can have them dance around or like do some like things to a beat or something like that to get them to move, but have it be more fun and kind of based on music. And because I think music really brings out happiness in a lot of people, and is a really smart tool to use. And then it also, I think it can be used to maybe help calm down patients. Like if they ever are having a time where they're kind of like stressed or overwhelmed or something, like you could relax them with music. And I think that would really do a really good job of helping either kids or even like adults, whoever it is, like as it showed in the video, like it really helps to calm people down and kind of take them back. So I think that would also be a nice way to utilize it. And then also I do think like, I don't know how much this would actually work, but one idea popped in my mind was you could use it still, because I know in this film it's being used as like a way to kind of like take them back to childhood and like get their memories back. And I don't know if this would work, but my idea was kind of like maybe it could help with even like with their muscle memory. Like if it's taking them back to, if they listen to a song or something that takes them back to a certain time period or a certain day of their life, like maybe that could also help them with their muscle movement and like remembering what they did and kind of like maybe taking memory and putting it into action. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's kind of one of the thoughts that I had. I was like, oh, maybe that'd be interesting to try and test out and see if that works, because it was proven to work with people with dementia or Alzheimer's. Like it definitely, I think it could possibly have an impact. But yeah, overall, this was a really interesting documentary. I loved it. It was super cool to see and kind of like changed my perspective on a few things. I didn't really realize how big of an issue this was in nursing homes, but it was really cool to see how much it really did positively affect people who were struggling with Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. But yeah, it was really sweet and very emotional. I almost started crying a few times. But yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool to see. So yeah, that's my review.